So let's connect to my remote machine where I am doing all the development activities. As I didn't install any IDE in this, so let me just create a folder. Let's say our serialization is here, and let me create a text file with any extension. So let's say I will keep the name as hdtest. Let me keep the extension as Java. Let me open with Notepad++. So as part of the serialization, I will be using IO streams. So for that I need to use the package java.io. And let me include all the classes of it by star. I should keep semicolon after every statement in Java. Let me create a class student, and I want to store the objects of this class student to the file system. So I need to make it serializable. So for that I need to extend the serializable interface using this implements keyword. For abstract classes we use this extents of the concrete classes. For interfaces we will just use implements. Let me keep 3 variables, as it is a student number, string, name, it should be capital as it is a class here, float, average. Now let me create a method public. I don't want to return any variable value. Let's say put data int n string some na float some average. Let me echo them. System.out.println let me just echo as student put data. It will print this, nothing else. Next I will use these parameters to assign values to these memo variables. So no is equal to n, name equal to na, and the variable name avg is same. So to differentiate them I will use this keyword, this dot avg is equal to avg. Okay, this will write the data to the instance variable. Now let me create one more function which will just display the data. Let me copy this system.out.println. And it will write our data after this braces. no will be printed, and after that let me give some space. Name will be printed. After that let me give some space plus avg. This is the serializable classes which will get printed. Now let me create one more class to use this object, and let me make it public so that I can access this. Public void my serialize is the function which I want to write. Let me keep the camel case by keeping s capital, and the input would be, I will keep the generic one object obj. And in this method I will just write the content of an object to the file system. For that, as I will get IO errors, let me keep a try block. File output stream FOS is equal to new file output stream of where I need to save. Let me keep some abc.txt. In this text file it will write. Now one output stream is created. Now to this low level to this file output stream I will attach one more object output stream. OS, let's say new object output stream FOS. Okay, now to this OOS I will pass my object to the method write object, that particular object which I want to write, which is passed obj. Once the return is completed, let me close the streams. FOS dot close, OOS dot close. So this is the ideal logic. If any exception occurs, generally it will be IO exception when no permissions or any let's keep IOE. Let me just print the status. Let me just save it. And this is the particular exception. Let me create one more generic exception also. One more catch block. Let me keep just E. this is for serialization. Let me create one more method for deserialization also. Let me copy paste this and we'll modify the logic. And I don't need any input because I am using the same object. And let me create the object, just a reference first, and pass null data to it. Now I am reading, so instead of file input stream I will use output stream, I will use input stream. And I will read the same text file. To this object input stream I will pass this. And start read object. It will read the object from that object input stream and it will return an object by using this deserialization concept. That one we can store in this obj variable for referencing that. Once it is done, our reading part is completed. We can close the streams. Similarly, we can use the same concepts. Now this is the deserialization method. Now in the same class, let me create a main method so that I can create an entry point to my program. So I will create an object first for testing for this serializable object. No, it should not. For the current object itself I will create it first, so that because these are all member functions, not the static one, these are instance methods, so I will create an object for this function first, then I can access them from this. And the next part, let me create an object for this serializable one, student, let's say some st, and for simplicity I will pass all of them as an argument. As I didn't keep any constructor, I will use that put data, right? So st dot put data and pass those values. First one will be the integer, string, and float value, right? 58.98. For float I will keep f. Let me store this. Let me serialize this one. I mean to store this particular object to a text file. sd dot my serialize st. So it will store the data. So once it is done, let me print it. Serialization complete. Now once the serialization is complete, let me read the same value from the text file using the deserialization function we wrote. Let's say right. So I took the reference as a generic object. Now let me serialize that one. I mean cache that one to this student. Let's keep st2 because st I used. This obj I want to cache there. So for that I will use this casting operator and our subclass name there. Now let me run this function. Let me print the same thing. Right. So now the flow is let me execute that first. Now this is my working directory. Let me compile this. If any errors, it should come. Of course, cannot find symbol voice. Which line it is? 1172. Oh, I didn't rename this. This is the problem which will occur when I copy paste the code. Still somewhere deserialize. The name we kept correctly only. Cannot be converted to object. Oh, I didn't return this object here after creating this. Oh, I kept void. Let me change it to object. Now it's compiled, and we have two different classes. As we have two different classes declared there, stdest and student. Let me clear the screen. Now let me run this java sd test and remove this extension dot class. Now you see, first of all it put the data to this abc.txt, the object format, so that's why you are not able to understand that. Let me open this. Still you cannot understand because this is how it will encrypt that, but partial data we can see. Later the next line, it's tried to do the deserialization. Now let me do one thing. Let me remove this, comment this serialization part and read only the deserialization part. Now I don't have data. Okay. HDT test is bad. It's compiled. Now if you run this, I am able to get the data directly because this data is available in this abc.txt. Let me change this partial data Uday with something like this. Oh, it got failed because this is how you cannot tamper the data. That's what it is showing, as that is the data encryption it is shown. So even if the user tried to tamper the data by changing that, it is showing a stream corrupted exception, right? So if you try to perform serialization on the object which is not implementing this serializable interface, then the application generally throws this exception called as java.io.not serializable exception. And one more thing, the structure of the class that is taken during serialization must be kept as it is during the deserialization also. If you change the structure of the student class during the deserialization, the process will be failed and it will throw an exception called invalid class exception. Here the structure means nothing. Structure of the class means nothing. Just the member variables and names and types and methods and their signatures. That's it. So thanks for watching this video, and the link for this code I will keep I will store it in GitHub, and I will store that link in the description. Thanks for watching this video.